Cloud. There we go. All right, well, welcome everybody to our first ever mid-month success team call. Carl and I, Judy Friesen and Carl Krebs, we are your hosts. And we have, of course, our illustrious upline leader, Pete Redekop, with us. And we plan to have these mid-month meetings every month, 2 weeks after the success team call, which is the first Tuesday of each month. So we are thrilled today, even though we're starting a little sooner than we normally would, we are wanting to accommodate the schedule that's going on after the Canadian Roadshow. And so we are very privileged to have our dear friend and upline in SPD, Robin Blanc Mascari, with us. And she's going to be bringing us some words of wisdom. We will have also a little bit of time for a Q&A. And we wanted to keep this call exactly down to 30 minutes. So have your questions ready, take a few notes. We'll do a quick wrap up at the end, but I am just so thrilled to have her. So I'm going to send it over to Carl. And Carl, you can say a couple more words if you wish, and then we'll get started right away and dig into the content. So good to have you, Robin.
I'm going to dig right in here, right beside Robin, and say it's just been a whirlwind of activity here in Manitoba. We just came off, I think, what was a fantastic meeting in Winnipeg. High energy, and Clarissa is here too, waving there. It was a real honor to share the stage with you. And so what we're doing today, this is the first mid-month training call that Judy and I, working with Pete, are beginning. We want to work through a series of topics that we believe are relevant and important so that we can empower you, our fellow colleagues in Lifewave, to hone your skills. How do we move forward? How do we accomplish? How do we get you to where you want to be?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And one of the topics, and it's absolutely timely, is that we would talk today about customer retention. And also, how do we resurrect some of the people that we have already had in our group? Because we know what we've been dealing with in Health Canada issues here. And now we're back. It was the relaunch, not the launch, but the relaunch. And we want to relaunch some of our, in kindest words, cold cases. And some people did attend the event yesterday that have migrated away from us. And we want to extend that warm invitation for them to come back. So who better to do it but the master recruiter? Here she is, Robin. Take it away, my dear.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Judy. And it was so wonderful to see you, Corolla and Roger and Bonnie, and being in this. Oh, there's a new face. Hello. Oh, okay. Well, I just love what's going on here in Canada, and I think that this particular region is going to take over Canada. And I know some of you may be from other places, but lots is going on here, and I'm honored to be with you. I think we have a little echo.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, great. So Carl's asked me to talk a little bit about retention and reactivating people. So I'm going to start with the reactivating because, you know, you guys have been through a lot. And our hearts go out to you, and God bless you for sticking in there. And those of you that have just held the torch, like Pete, like Carl, like Judy, like Clarissa, of just, being there for your people going through these challenging times. And that's the power of community. So with those people that haven't reactivated yet, my suggestion and invitation is to get back in touch with them and to reach out and ask, help me understand. And Carl knows that's one of my favorite lines is help me understand. What is it that got you excited about Lifewave to begin with? Why did you want to try the patches? And we've been talking about how long, they say, well, some people say they want to try the patches for a month. And what I say to people, and a lot of our leaders are actually saying to people, is, give it a month for every decade you are old and a minimum of 3 months, or don't even go there, because we want you to get the best results. What's going on in our bodies didn't happen overnight. And so we can't expect it to change overnight. Can many of you get instant pain relief or rapid? Absolutely. We know that's true. But we're looking for long-term. We're looking for tapping into what we really have here. And, I was privileged to be in Italy recently, in Sardinia, with David and Meredith, the president, and Ryan Barson, the senior VP of global sales. And they pulled back the curtain, shared a little bit about where we're going. And I hope everyone is either coming to the convention live or has your virtual ticket, because David's going to share some things that when he shared them in Italy, it just kind of made my mouth drop. And personally, I feel it's a privilege and a blessing to be able to share what we have, because David Schmidt, our founder and inventor, is committed to 100% age reversal. And right now we only have 33%. And we know that there are some interesting restrictions, limitations with Health Canada. Well, I want you guys to know it's the same thing in the States. We can't say stem cell anymore either. So we're in the same boat with you, but what we can do is we can share our stories. So when you're reconnecting with people, you want to find out what's important to them. And one of the questions one of our leaders loves to ask, if I had a magic wand and you could have one thing that would be even better in your health, what would that be? And what difference would it make in your life? And actually use the same question for lifestyle, because people come into this business from one of three doors. It's either the product door, the opportunity door, or the community. People, what you guys have been through more than just about anyone is it's been tough to be so confined and restricted in your mobility during the pandemic and the lockdown. People need community. We need each other. This business and life are team sports. And so we want to, our job in our business is really, many of you have heard me share the definition of coach. And a coach comes from 16th century England, and it's conveying a valued person from where they are to where they want to be. And that's our job, is helping people get more of what they want. So how do we find out what that is? We ask. So we want to take the time to connect with people. How are you holding up? What's going on? Before you jump into Lifewave, I'm reconnecting. This is a really exciting time in the history of our company. We are breaking records every month. And the future is so bright. We have some amazing things, but I want to get back to what it is that got you interested when you first started, when you first, joined Lifewave. So when you're reconnecting to people that have taken a little respite, so to speak, because they couldn't get their favorite patch, well, now they can. And so you want to, share the great news. We have, 5 more patches available for you. We have wonderful support. The company has been incredibly supportive in the Canadian market, and it shows a lot about the company. What Carl did last night at the meeting, he talked about the culture. What we have in this very, very special company is way beyond a company. It's attracting the most extraordinary people from every walk of life. And people want to feel connected. So when you take the time to find out what do they want in their health, and then that same question, if there was one thing that you can have that would be even better in your lifestyle, what would that be? Because many times people that have the money don't have the time. People that have the time don't have the money. And that's typical, but not always. A lot of people want freedom. A lot of people want to, we have the privilege and the blessing in our profession to do what we want with who we want, when we want. And we have the freedom. We have an opportunity to create residual income, which is very rare in the world for the average person, which most of us are. There's a few extraordinary people that have books and music and this and that, but most of us don't. And so this way we can create freedom for people. And many of you know that, a few years ago, Gregory had a very serious illness. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And we had been in Lifewave long enough that the residual income was already coming in. So I could focus on what's most important. And that's what we always want. So in reconnecting with people, connect with them and what's important to them. which will make a huge difference. And then ask them, are you ready to get back to it? We invite you to join us. We have a lot going on here. Canada is waking up, and it's really, really exciting for me, coming from the States, to be amidst this amazing community of leaders and people that are so serious about changing people's lives, about giving people more of what they want. So that's part one. Part two, retention. And this is something I learned from Gregory. He was the senior VP of sales at a company where I met him many, many years ago, back in the year 2000. And he hired a consultant to understand what is retention. Our job is to get people in, keep them in, and move them along. So we got to keep them in. So what does that mean? How do you keep people in? What has people stay in? And many times, and I know that the exchange rate from USD to Canadian dollars is not great. And people can say, well, this is too expensive. Well, people only say things are too expensive when the value is not there. What is the price you put on being able to live pain-free, being able to have quality sleep? So what Gregory learned from this consultant when they studied the company, that retention actually comes from communication and education. So getting people plugged into what we have, sharing with them the websites. We have a brand new website that most of you probably don't know. I hope you're plugged in and getting our newsletter. You can go to liveyoungernewsletter.com and join our email list, or have your upline forward one and click on the bottom to join the list. But we give updates on that newsletter, what's going on in our Live Younger community. And this brand new website, because Gregory bought this domain name when we first started, and he didn't know why, and now he knows, because we're not able to talk stem cells in the future in the US either. So the domain name is copperpeptidebreakthrough.com. There is no reference whatsoever to Lifewave or to X39. And you get to be the bridge. You don't want to put this in print anywhere. You don't want to publicize it. Connect it to Lifewave. You can do it independently. Say, check this out. Because we know when you're talking to someone that the magic behind X39 is not just activating stem cells. It's activating and increasing the copper peptide. And that peptide, and I remember this vividly, when the launch of X39 happened globally, we got an email from David Jumper, who was there in the beginning of the company. And, we called this the stem cell patch, but guess what? It's really the GHK patch. And maybe you can start saying this is the GHK patch. And then send them, but do that verbally, not in print, not on your Facebook group, not on anything public that will connect this website to Lifewave or X39. But we're educating people, saying, I just learned something new. You get back in touch with people and saying, we've got a new tool that's going to really make a difference. When people go to this website, you get to really, and I invite each and every one of you to educate yourself on all the different dimensions of what this copper peptide is. Because when someone's new, I always send them to do their own research. But here, we can send them to this website. This website gives the information from the man that actually did the research and discovered this copper peptide, which is known in scientific circles around the world as the holy grail of health, healing, and regeneration. And so when you send people to the website and you learn about what else is going on, because activating your own younger stem cells is just part. It's a small part of what's happening. Altering gene expression of over 4,000 genes, which is a third of your genes, to a more youthful state. We actually have scientific proof that we are turning back the biological clock. And I don't know about you, but anyone under the age of, over the age of 50, maybe 45, would love that. And so, and then it actually on this website, it talks about all kinds of diseases, because Dr. Lauren Picard, when his mother and grandmother died of cancer, He devoted his life, and he's in his 80s now, and he's still researching. And there's a link on that site to his research and to his site. He devoted his life to figure out, how can I eradicate disease? And then he discovered this copper peptide. So sharing this with people is going to make a big difference. And again, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to be redundant because we want to all be on safe territory and protect the golden goose here. So we're not making any claims, but if you're saying to people that this technology actually activates this copper peptide, GHK copper, or DHK-CU, and then here's how you can learn about it. Instead of sending them to their favorite search engine or PubMed, I still, when I'm talking to a doctor, an MD, I like to go into their world first before I even send them any information. I say, we have something very special here that activates this copper peptide. Please go to pubmed.gov because that's their world. And then if you're interested or intrigued, get back to me. We have a lot more information I can send you. We have over 80 published studies, but this is the magic behind what we have. So this new tool came out in the nick of time for Canada and for the US because we need it. So reaching out to people, giving them this information, that's the education part. And the communication is really the connection. It's the relationship. And people want to do business with people they know, love, and trust. And so being in touch with people regularly, Gregory likes to call it professional persistence. And he also taught me a long time ago that you never want to end one exposure without setting up the next. And so whether it's a prospect, a customer, or a brand partner, every time you're in touch with them, you want to set up that next communication. And how do you know when and how long? You ask. Like, what's going to work for you? How often would you like to be in touch? How much information would you like? Because our job is to give people enough information to make an informed decision. So how do we know what they want? Again, we ask. Some people want a lot of information. Some people want a little. When Kai Jacobson reached out to me, or to Gregory and to me, and he said, there's a new technology for my company and it activates your stem cells. I said, how fast can I get it? I didn't ask one question. I didn't ask what it was. I didn't ask how much it costs. I just said, how can I get it? How fast can I get it? Now, I'm at one end of the spectrum, but there's other people at the other end of the spectrum that need a lot more information, and we've got enough for everybody. So when you're connecting with your people, you're connecting with your prospects, your customers, your brand partners, especially your customers and brand partners for retention. It's staying connected. And I remember years ago, I was at a network marketing conference, and there were two women on stage, and they talked about follow-up. And honestly, most all of us could use some good work on follow-up. And that's where never ending one exposure without setting up the next makes it easier to do the follow-up because you don't have to play the phone tag game and getting in touch with people's schedules. You set it up right in the moment when you're both together and they're interested. And so they stood up on stage and they talked about the fortune and the friendship are in the follow-up. And people, when you follow up with people, a lot of people think they're being a pest by following up. And this is where Gregory reframed this one for me really well. It's professional persistence. It's, it's caring. It shows them that you care enough about them to stay connected and help them get more of what they want because you've already taken the time to find out what they want. And if you haven't done that with your people, you want to say, you know what? I didn't do a really good job when we first got started. Can we push the reset button? Be honest, be transparent, say, I'm learning. I want to keep getting better. My job is to help you get what you want. And so I need to find out from you. Help me understand. So you hear these lines over and over again, don't you? There's a clue. Because people just so appreciate when you take the time to really care about what's important to them. So by staying in touch consistently at the amount that they want, they say, Let's talk next month. Great. Let's put it on our calendar. Let's talk next week. Let's talk tomorrow. If it's a new customer, you want to be in touch with them right away when they get their patches. I have a new prospect that I met in Italy, and I just got a text from him, and I've been sending him information. I asked him how much information he liked. He goes, I said, do you want the studies? He goes, absolutely. This man owns a gym. He's a personal trainer. He has a whole cadre of personal trainers and massage therapists at his gym, interestingly enough, in the US, but he was from Sardinia. So we developed a connection and we stayed in touch. Well, I left the resort and we left the Lifewave event. We stayed over in Italy and we stayed connected. So we started building our relationship and I kept asking him questions. And he was helping me understand the culture and how to pronounce things. And, he's really helping me get more familiar with his culture. But now he's back at home in the US. And I sent him some patches and they should arrive today or tomorrow. So I'm going to help them get his trainers, off to a good start. Now he has a massage therapist. He immediately shared when he got home. And that person said, I'm ready to sign up. Well, he hasn't signed up yet. But guess what? You will. So our job, again, is give people enough information for their desire and for their appetite. So how are we doing? I've been talking for probably longer than you wanted.
We're doing great. I'm going to be off camera, so hopefully you'll hear me on the call here. And I love your impersonation of on this Zoom call. You're so much better looking than I am. We want to ask some questions. There are some people here. Does anybody have a question here that you want to ask Robin about what she has been speaking about? Anybody with a question? One of the things I know that came out yesterday, it's the stories that we get to tell, and nobody can prevent you from telling your story. It's your testimony. The only thing we want to be guarded on is language and terms. But as you said in the brand partner meeting yesterday, we still live in a freedom of speech place, but we just want to respect the lanes that we're in. So we can tell our stories, we can say what we want privately, but publicly, we need to pay a careful attention to this so that we don't have them kill the goose that is laying the golden eggs. So the stories are still the number one thing.
The fastest growing teams in the entire world use stories to build their business. And we changed our calls. Like on Monday morning, we call it the Monday Morning Miracle Call. And on that call, people share stories strictly about product and ask questions. And we changed the Tuesday night call to be Testimonial Tuesday, because we're constantly learning about what's working. Right. And knowing that the fastest growing teams are using stories. Well, guess what? We're going to use stories. And now we have several of our leaders have their own calls where they do stories. And we brought on a large influencer in our team. And he just won SPD on Sunday. And now he started his own Monday Miracle Call, is what he calls it. And, it's stories that develop belief. And it's stories that inspire people to share. It's like, oh my gosh, Aunt Sue, my sister, so-and-so needs more sleep. So-and-so needs pain relief. And it's so helpful. Now, we love the extraordinary stories like Steve and Coach Clarissa have, which are fabulous because it just validates our technology amazingly. But the average stories about more energy, better sleep, pain relief are things that the masses really experience. So when you hear those, whether you have a story of your own or not, you can share other people's stories. And that's why we like people to start with X39 for the first 60 to 90 days. Unless you've had a serious illness, a major injury, an accident, a procedure, you're not sleeping, you're in serious pain. Everyone else should start with X39 because it's simple and it's easy to duplicate. So keeping it simple is one of the keys to success in this business. And remembering, this is a team sport. You try to do it yourself, it's going to be slower, it's going to take longer, it's not going to be nearly as much fun, and you're not going to have the success. Use the team. Plug people into these calls. Plug people into our Live Younger system. Get people connected with the community. What else you want me to share?
I think we've covered a wide spectrum there, and we're closing in on the 30-minute limit that we like to keep our calls. So, Judy, can I turn it over to you to make some last-minute wrap-up comments about what is actually going on in Canada and how we are going to play by new rules?
Absolutely, Carl. Thank you so much. And Robin, thank you. What just a wonderful packed-filled 15 minutes of just wonderful nuggets. I was just writing furiously. And I'm sure everybody on the call, wants to remember some of the key gold nuggets that you dropped. Let me just summarize just a few that I have just as a way of summary and wrap up. First, in reactivating, I really like the way that you said it is help me understand. Okay, get in touch with people. People think, okay, I'm kind of nervous, but I'm going to get a list and then I'm going to pick up the phone. But then it's like we freeze, like now what? And you say, hi, Jack, how's it going? Fine, fine. But then how do you zoom in? And so to ask them, help me understand what got you excited in the first place, or what did you want to try to put in place, or where do you want to go with this? I mean, I think that was just golden to do that. And I like the vision of the 3 doors: product, opportunity, and community. So thank you for that. And those 2 questions to ask: what one thing would you want to see changed if you could? Those are handles, those are hooks that we can use. So thanks for that, Robin. And then secondly, you talked about retention. And I love the word professional persistence. I have been often loved, but also been referred to as a wonderful nag. Here comes Judy, she's the nag. And what they're really saying in a loving way is, I've been very persistent. And they realized that if I wasn't persistent, they would just drop off because other people have other things on their mind. So I love that professional persistence, and never end a connection without setting up the next one. That is absolutely duplicatable for everybody to do that. So stories build, stories develop belief, stories bring success. Thank you, Robin. I hope that I did it justice to kind of summarize a little bit of what you've said. So with that, if anybody, we have 2 minutes left according to my clock. If anybody else has even a comment, what I was wondering is, what if we went around the room and in 15, 20 seconds, what if you would just say one thing that you're taking away from this call? What's one little word or sentence that you heard Robin say that you're going to say, I want to repeat that? Maybe we can make a plan to say, can I repeat that with one of my brand partners that I've sponsored sometime this week? Pick up the phone and say, guess what I just learned today? What if you had that one thing that you're going to take away from this call? What would it be? Can we just go around the room in 15 seconds, each person, starting with maybe Coach Clarissa?
Hi, what I like is this is a team sport.
Yes, team sport.
Yeah, team sport. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that you don't have to do it yourself. This business is for yourself, but not by yourself. I like that.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, next. Who's going to volunteer?
Say your name. Say your name.
Take yourself off of mute. One thought or word. Go ahead.
These stories and they hear that somebody else and they want to try to.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Somebody else.
Hi, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
Well, yeah, very
Here,
very impressed or excited when they found out the relief that I received from the pain relief my field. So that was
that's your story. Yeah, okay. Mike back to you.
All right, am I being heard here? All right, you can hear me. I just want to say, you know what? It's really amazing to be in company of such great people, and I'm super excited that Carl and Clarissa are really
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Pete. Who else hasn't had a chance to give their 15-second word? Corolla? I think I see your camera, but I think you're still on mute. Go ahead. Thank you.
Follow-up was big for me, you know, like we bring people in and then we don't follow up, you know, like many people are like that and left behind, and they need that, and we have heard that lately a few times, so we need to work harder, you know, on that.
Great. Thanks. And Bonnie, I don't think I've heard from Bonnie yet, or Roger. I don't know if they have anything they want to add. If not, just unmute yourself. If not, go ahead, Roger.
Very important is just to stay connected. Like
Yes.
you already were saying, book one thing to the next, right?
Yeah.
Don't leave without terms.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Roger. And I think last but not least, maybe, I don't know if I've missed anybody else, but I don't think we've heard from Bonnie. If you're comfortable, Bonnie, sharing just one tiny little thought that you're taking away from Robin's talk. If you're able to unmute yourself. Not sure. Nope, I don't think it's going to work. That's okay. That was fun. Thank you for that popcorn round of just keeping it short and giving one main concept that you're thinking about that you might want to pass along to somebody in your team. Again, thank you so much. We are thrilled of what's happening in Canada, and we're here for each other. And we want to thank again, Robin, for flying out, taking the time out of your busy schedule. And I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be there with you in Winnipeg in person, but I was with you there in spirit all last night. I was watching, and this morning. And I know that there are going to be really big things coming, especially with the convention. If you haven't got your virtual ticket, be sure to get that. I think it's sold out as far as in person, but we're going to learn from each other, and we're going to share with each other and help each other no matter where we are in this business, whether you're just starting or you're already a director or senior director or presidential director. We're here to work and help each other, and that's why we're on the call. So until next time, thank you. God bless. Take care of everybody and in your team, and we will see you on the next Success Team call, which is the first Tuesday of the month, which will be on October the 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
I'll end the recording, Judy.
In just a second here.